Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing well. So, we're continuing our reading of this radical feminist book. It has helped us to understand their philosophy and see how we differ as Muslims compared to them, what their goals for society look like, and how ours look like. And I find it very beneficial to dig through what it is they have to say, because then we can accurately label things feministic according to the rad fem philosophy standard. It is quite common now, especially for red pill Muslims, to call anything they don't like feminism, and they love to call every woman a feminist. It's kind of like how liberals call everyone a Nazi. So it'll do us good to see how overusing a word and inaccurately applying it really waters down its tenacity and shows that we just like buzzwords. So let us begin to continue the section titled Without Our Consent. She went in on consent culture, kind of really muddied the water, I'd argue, and stretched the term. Did it a disservice, but that's to be expected. So let's continue upon her mental hike. Alright, Bismillah. It's easier to believe that women and girls are somehow to blame for sexual assault than it is to do the dangerous work of making change dangerous, because it tends to make powerful men uncomfortable. Well, okay. It's true that I'm sure there's some really weird Epstein Island type rich individuals. However, there are a lot of drug addicts who force themselves upon other drug addicts in the street. I think you can be any socioeconomic class of man who decides to embark upon the degenerate and evil behavior of sexual assault. I don't think it's just the elite men who do it, because that would just be inaccurate. Our eyes can see that, sadly, all sorts of men do that. I have regular, passionate disagreements with one of my older female relatives about this. She believes that people who are assaulted should have simply taken more precautions. And I suspect that the reason she believes this is because it gives her comfort and a sense of control to think that there is a choice involved. Well, it's a bit of both, isn't it? It's a bit of both. There's nothing wrong with taking precautions. There is a problem with being too naive. When you're stumbling about like a lamb in the field and you aren't being cautious of taking a scan of the perimeter, okay, there's gonna be something lurking out there. That's just the way the world works. No matter where you go in this world, there's something trying to eat something. Whether it's a bird to a bug, a wasp to a honeybee, there's something attacking something. Okay? Go in the ocean, you see that it's a freaky place. It's just fish eating fish, it's shark eating fish, it's birds eating fish, whales eating fish. It's chaos. Okay? Humans fishing for fish. Absolute anarchy. Yet it has an order, doesn't it? It's true. You never know what's going to happen. You can trust a man, right? He's smiling at you. He smells nice. His hair's good. Like, he's looking fine. And then you get behind closed doors. He has a total diabolical plan that you did not see coming. You think he's a gentleman. You think he respects boundaries. Then you find out the hard way. He's not that way, so you were tricked. You were lured. You were bamboozled. Let's put it with soft words. Then there are women who go into the lion's den and expect no scratches. And then if you say, hey, stop going to frat parties, getting blackout drunk, snorting cocaine, and passing out on a couch where there's tons of men you don't know, it's not really wise, is it? Don't do that. Don't take the precaution. Don't party with men. Stop getting blackout drunk around men. Stop thinking that certain men aren't going to take advantage of you. And there's women too as well. There's women who will gladly do stuff to you, bisexual and lesbians, who will do stuff to you while you're passed out and you won't even remember because you were so drunk, and you have less of a guard towards women doing that, Or they'll just mess up your hair, draw a penis on your forehead, put honey in your hair. There was tons of times where girls in my school would come to school the next day with their hair cut shorter because somebody stuffed a bunch of gum in there, or pranking people. So women will pull pranks on other women who are more prettier than them, and men will do something even worse, which is to force themselves upon them, or just take pictures and lie, right? All they gotta do is grab your shirt, pull it down a little bit, expose it, and then lie and say they did something when they didn't, just because they want bragging rights with certain people. So alcohol and drugs lower your cautionary vision, and it's super dangerous. That's why sobriety is so important. Yes, you can have an ideal world where you can just get hammered and use as many drugs as you want, and no one will ever do anything you don't like. Okay, but there are men who'll do evil stuff sober. It's a sense of entitlement to think that you are a magical being that gets to walk around planet Earth, a place of violence and death, and think that you never have to be with your wits about you. You have to be strong. You have to be wise. Don't trust a guy just because he looks handsome. I mean, come on. Because the alternative is worse. The alternative is that there is nothing she can do to stop it, and by extension, nothing she can do to protect her daughters, her granddaughters, her friends, herself. There is something you can do. Second Amendment. Don't use drugs. Carry pepper spray. Carry a knife. Live in an area with a low crime rate. Have a security dog in your backyard. Have cameras installed by your garage, throughout your home, so in case there's a male, who decides to do a home invasion. Don't go out after dark. Don't go to clubs and bars and get high and drunk, and go in strange men's cars to hump in the back seat. Don't go to a man's house who you don't know and you just drunk and horny. Like, there's tons of things you can do. Okay? Don't walk alone at night in the street. When you go to the parking garages, have a weapon with you of self-defense. If you're coming out of a hospital, ask the hospital for a security escort. Try to travel with a friend, a male friend who... Well, you can't travel with the male friend. I say a cousin, someone who is halal in Islam, because the male friend can be just as dangerous. But travel maybe with someone who can help you. Travel in groups, 2 or 3 people, and you're less likely to be a little lone lamb. That's what I'd say. But then again, if Allah decides to test you, He's going to test you. Alright? So, there was some cases I read just a few days ago where a doctor, after he had put the anesthesia on his female patients, he did things to them while they were knocked out on anesthesia. And the only way they caught him was he used to record it and save it on his electronic devices. When his ex-girlfriend got into his computer, when they were still together, she had discovered he had did it to her too, and he was busted. He was an Asian man, Chinese guy. I was gonna share it, but I didn't want to make everyone feel sad. But there's a lot of cases where medical men who work in the medical industry, do things to women when they're passed out, and your male guardian can't always be there to protect you when that happens. So there's even cases, as I said, in the mortuaries where the body is dead and the males are taking pictures of the females. So men in particular, they just have that type of evil in them, you know? And you can't, even when you're dead, they still will do stuff. So, I mean, women will always be in danger of bad men. There is nothing we can do to make us 100% safe against men. There are shaitans who are influencing women and men, and sadly that's our reality for some time. Feeling complicit in our own harassment allows us to survive trauma, but it also prevents us from confronting it. Maybe in her opinion, but when I realized I was a moron for trusting men so much, that's when I took accountability, and that's when I made change. I was like, you know what? I was, hanging around gang members. What did I expect? What the hell was wrong with me? And then I realized, no, I didn't have any male guidance or proper mom guidance. I was kind of a moron. Let the TV influence me, and the music industry, my surroundings. I was just completely lost in the sauce of gang violence. But you gotta change. Take accountability, right? I was complicit in my own stupidity. Even though others took advantage and saw the opportunity of my stupidity, they saw an opening to harm me. And I confronted my own stupidity and realized, you know what? Gotta make a change. What does Islam say? No free mixing. Boom! Problem solved. At least part of it, right? Inshallah. You never know what Allah will test us with. This is how we get a world where women, for their own safety, are counseled by the people who love them against walking alone at night. Yeah, what's wrong with that? Why do you want to walk alone at night? Okay, every horror movie taps into our minds where there's a crazy person with a knife. And because that's true, less people are awake at night. They're sleeping, so there's less eyes to help you. And even now, during the day, people just record with their phones things happening to you. In sociology, I remember there was a story of a lady in New York. I don't remember call it. I think it's in the book called The Tipping Point. I forgot. Has a match on it on the cover. We had to read it for sociology. These people in New York City just looked out their windows as a woman was, assaulted in the street. Nobody did nothing. And these people say, liberal women say defund the police. So someone calls the police for you, they're going to show up late because there's not too many around to do a beat, right? You don't have funding for the police department, less people available for calls because there's less assets to pay those officers, okay? And when you say take away gun rights, now women don't have an ability to blast a criminal from their window who's trying to do something to you. And men can't come help you because they don't have a weapon and that criminal is maybe stronger than them. Who knows? So you just make problems for yourself. Stop going alone at night. There's nothing at night for you if you ain't looking for trouble. There's only trouble at night. Only trouble. Only trouble. If you want to take a Uber to go sit by the ocean side, have a shrimp appetizer, and watch ferry boats go in this romantic setting with your lover, cool, alright. But if you're going to walk around the town at night and be hot girl summer and talk to strange men and want strange men to approach you, the chances are there's going to be some creepos up in there. And when you're fishing for sharks, one of these days you might catch the great white shark and he's going to have a munch. It's quite horrible. I don't know why it's so bad to tell women to just be careful. You're not in paradise. You're on Earth. Just think how violent it is for insects. I walk, I step on bugs. Think about the pesticides we spray on bugs. It literally just makes them die right there. We have traps for rats, squirrels getting ran over by cars. We got ships crashing into whales. We got birds swallowing plastic. Just think about the sheer horrible ends of so many animals on this planet, so many creatures, so many insects, so many big, huge, beautiful trees chopped down, or insects eating the trees and making them crumble and die from a disease. It's like, this planet is rough. And for women to think they don't have to, like, they can make a cotton candy Disneyland where there's zero suffering, zero danger. It's just not possible. If people in prison are put in a box and they're still likely to be assaulted by their cellie, by a guard, they're literally in prison and they're still in danger from other people in the prison, or staff members, or just bad food and polluted water, or their own mind going insane. They're even a danger to their own selves. You cannot escape danger, and some people find that to be terrifying to confront. But me, when I think of that, I feel more free because I'm not living in a lie. I see what kind of world we live in. We're in a Hunger Games. It's time to rise up. You want to be a dove in the eagle's nest? Well, that's on you. It's our choice, a choice we make for our own good, as independent women, to minimize our risk. Independent women. That's the first time she's mentioned independent women. I've been waiting for it. But that's not sexual freedom. That's something else. Look, you are already sexually free. Okay? You have the choice to sleep with who you want, but you're not free from the consequences. Disease. Getting with a wacko. Getting bad memories. Okay? Who you sleep with, some of their faces might be blurry throughout time because your brain suppresses them. But there will be one, there's always one that's going to stick out to you forever. And something will remind you of them. And then you remember. And even if you like somebody, you're still going to compare that person to that one guy. And then it causes pain. It's very bizarre. You think you can have this big smorgasbord of the male phallus, like you're going into the grocery store, and that you're not going to get attached or get any trauma from them. But it's just not the way it is, because there's a point of view that wants vengeance for being rejected. You want to hurt them because they screwed you over, they didn't pick you, blah blah blah, and now you're angry. And you can get angry out of nowhere. You know, you can think of them and be like, do you remember that? I remember that one time he told me that snarky comment. And it could happen like 5 years later, and you think about it randomly for like 10 minutes, and now you're angry and you gotta go cool off. The more men you involve in your mind and share your body with, it's more of a headache. And you're letting them make fun of you. Like, I've heard men before in high school just brutal comments they'd make about these girls. Absolutely brutal. Sweet talker, they get what they want, and then they just mock her relentlessly afterwards. And that trauma that she faces is like, oh, but if she just would have held tight, not slept with them, maybe found a good guy to marry, things would have been quite different, wouldn't they have? It's just the reality. You can't change men. You can't. So you already have sexual freedom, but you're not free from consequences. And I'm sorry. You know, I don't have to, if you're going to shove your lifestyle in my face, you can't force me to accept it. And you can't sew my mouth shut if I say, hey man, I don't think that's going to be a good, long-lasting pathway of life. You can't be like, I'm free. Yeah, you're free to go into a brick wall. You know, that's what you're free. There can be no sexual freedom while girls remain expendable. All humans are expendable, really. I mean, we come and we go. We're born, we die, we're forgotten about within a generation. Our grandchildren sometimes can forget us. Our own children can rebel against us. Our government, here, you are a cog in the machine. Like, I mean, that's the most nihilistic way of looking at it. Our government sees us as capital to put on Wall Street for labor. You know, like, how much labor do we have? How many soldiers can we go for this overseas thing? How can we negotiate our position and as the hegemonic force? You know, they look at us as definitely expendable. Definitely. That's why being a mother and you have that beautiful moment where your child needs you, you're not expendable to your child. It's everyone else you are because it's a conditional love. That's the truth. When your child turns, 18, 20, 25, now they've grown their wings, they're off in the world, and you hope they come back to visit, you know? But when they're little, that's the moment women get exclusively, men not as much. But when your child is little and they see mama and they want you, like, you are so important. So important. Especially if you're a nursing mom. Because you literally are giving them food from your body. Right? If it's formula, then the grocery store is highly important for you. But when you're a nursing mom, you are needed every 2 hours. And girls are made expendable over and over again on college campuses. Okay, stop having booty butt in your dorms and then thinking that inviting strange men from campus can't go wrong. This is something I've learned. This is something that's stuck in my mind and it'll always be there. You when you close the door and you are alone with a man, that's when the psycho can come out. He only wants one thing. As soon as that door closes, I want the clothes off. That's what men think about. And as soon as you realize that, that's the only thing he's thinking about. He's not want to study math with you. He doesn't want to talk about your hometown. He doesn't want to talk about your minor and major of what you chose to study. He wants the booty. Okay? And he'll play the long game. Oh yeah, he'll listen to you mumble and talk. But he wants that prize. And he will just... Some men can mirror your emotions. You're talking, and they're like, yeah. They sit with open body language so that you get distracted by their pecs, their chest, or their triceps, or they stretch and they open their legs and they're like, oh, or they itch and then you see their abs and you're like, So, the chemistry section 5, and you're looking all dumb, College should just be about education. Colleges, I'd argue, should be gender segregated. That would be way more healthier. Just focus on knowledge. But I know some people go to college to look for their spouse, so, there has to be some way of reforming that. But usually when those R-wording happens, it's at a frat party, a sorority party, something with alcohol and drugs. It's always alcohol and drugs. Stop getting drunk around strangers. Don't trust women either. Stop trusting people to be your babysitter. Know when you drink and get high, you have made yourself weaker. You have chopped off your foot when there's a pack of hyenas waiting for you to stumble. That's what alcohol and drugs do. It's chopping off your own foot while a pack of hyenas is coming to eat you. Okay? So on the college campus thing, there was a girl who was carrying around her mattress as a protest. It turns out it was all fake. There's some girls who their culture will shame them for sleeping before marriage, so they lie and say they were R-worded, which is horrible because they ruin it for the women who really have had a horrible experience. But there are some girls who will just be like, I'd rather say I was R-worded than admit that I had, a grand old time, even if it ruins the guy's life. It was very common in Utah for the Mormon girls to deeply, deeply fear being found out that they did stuff. So they always had that back, in their pocket, those young men. It was pretty scary, And in small towns where high school footballers are boy kings, in hotel rooms every country on every continent. But yes, hotel rooms, I shared that story. Never again. Allah save me. But if you are in a hotel room, no. You should not be there. If you're not trying to have an orgy, if you're not trying to get laid, stay out of hotel parties. That is only one. They literally bought a room for a booty smacking, and they want to be able to have one person on one bed, another person on the other bed, and create a story to tell at their next parties. Okay? You going there is only danger. Only danger. And sure, the men might take it, and the women too, the pimptresses. Maybe one or two or three times they make you have a grand old time, so you let your guard down. But eventually, things get weird. People start looking around, and some women start moving, and you're like, what? Oh no, I'm in the wrong room. Yeah, you're in the wrong room. Get out. And that's why you should be careful who you carpool for. But today, you got your smartphone, boop, 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 call a taxi, say, you know what, I need to use the restroom. Go to the bathroom, call a cab, turn the water on so they can't hear you as much, and then, make an excuse to go outside, say you need some fresh air, get the heck out of there. And then block all those people out from your life who tried to set you up. In their own homes and online, girls are there to be used and discarded when they become inconvenient. Ugh, man. Yeah, it's a sad thing, but just live a better life. Girls are there as spittoons for the self-disgust you won't swallow. Girls to clean your house. Hold up. Girls to clean your house? Yeah, you're a dirty little hamster. You gotta clean up after yourself. Okay? What kind of moron thinks that... Okay, when I had roommates, one time I had... I had my room. I had 4 people in one room and 4 people in the living room. So we're 9 total in a 2-bedroom apartment in the hood in California, right? And when it comes to whose turn it is to clean the bathroom, people will say, well, do you poo here? Do you shower here? Do you walk in this home? Then everybody gotta clean. Everybody has to have a turn, right? So if roommates expect you to clean, why would you think that when you're with your man and you're a mom that you're not gonna clean? Do you know how bad it sucks to have bed bugs? When I was living in the hood, there's a lady. She would always dig through the freaking trash, okay? She was a weirdo. And she would drag things by our apartment front door. And if you step in some cloth or something where there's bed bug eggs, or just those bed bugs in general, they jump on your pant ankle, they come in your home. Oh, it's horrible. And I remember getting bit at night. It's just terrible. It's itchy. You wake up with all these bug bites. You gotta call the exterminator. When you're dirty, like my apartment was clean, but when your neighbors are dirty, when dirty people get around you, you can get bugs. So if you are going to be dirty in your own home, you're only hurting your own self. You're going to attract spiders, bugs, and insects naturally because you're being dirty. And you're telling me that a man should be subjected to having to be your nanny and cleaning up behind you when you're a full-grown woman and can do it yourself? If kids gotta clean up their toys when they're done playing, how is it that you as a grown woman don't have to clean in the house you live? Pig. Absolutely disgusting. Girls to clear away the evidence of your shame, and the worst thing is, a girl can do is refuse to be that sort of mute vessel. Mute vessel, sure. You don't have to be a mute vessel. You don't have to take just any kind of abuse, right? I understand, because I'm a dominant female. But you can speak with like a bluntness that is easy and palatable with your mate. Direct, clear, concise, explained in further detail when needed. Not shrill. Some women get really shrill, like, ah! Like, no. Shouting, screaming, hollering. Sometimes you might have an argument, which is natural. But even when it comes to nagging, you gotta mention something to him in a clever, kind of playful way. Or, oh, I really need that baking paper. Do you remember I told you? Okay, I'll get it. 2 days go by. When is the next time you're gonna go to Costco? Maybe next week. Do you think you could pick me up some baking paper? Or next time, oh, he didn't get it. I had an idea. What if we like write a list on the fridge of like things we need, and then whenever one of us goes to that place where that item is sold, we can check the list before we go and then pick it up. What do you think about that? Or you could tell him, I really, what if you give me some money, an allowance for buying some household items I need so that it can be taken off your plate and I can just handle it and I won't always have to bother you for it. And I can put it on my card and then you could just give me the money, like once a week or whatever, and then you don't have to worry about it because I know you already have so much on your plate. You see what I'm saying? I'm making up a whole dialogue here. You can find a way to not be this sort of like mute carpet who a man just gets to beat over the head with his sandal, right? You can approach him in a way that doesn't irritate him, which is common courtesy because you want to have harmony in the home. And some men have a very short attention span, hot tempers. They don't want to hear you go on for 10 minutes about something. It's like, what do you need? Just be direct. But you don't want to be too pushy because then it stresses them out, And then they loathe hearing you open your mouth. They feel like every time you open your mouth, it's like, what now? But if you are smart about it and know when to time it at the right time, it's not so bad, right? But if he's in the middle of working out and you knock on his gym door and be like, hey, didn't I tell you to do this, this, and that? And he's in the middle of a workout. Like, have some situational awareness. You see what I'm saying? So when she mentions being a mute vessel, sure, there's probably men out there who they wish they could take their woman's tongue out so she could just never talk. However, don't pick those men. Don't pick those men. You find out he's like that, find a solution, or if you're still young and pretty, get you a new saddle, Don't have a child with someone yet if they expect you to be a mute vessel. Have some honor for yourself. Love yourself. Reform what you need to reform and get somebody who's compatible with you, who's the coolness of your eyes, not, thorns in your sock. I'd argue. What do you think? This book never disappoints, does it? Always brings out a bunch of ideas. Let me know what you think. If you'd like to join my blog, it's www.subscribestar.com/MilahanArchive. Hope to see you there.